All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we got to check out a new product coming out. We got the Armory deck for Dash IO. Okay, excuse me. Technically, it just says Armory deck Dash on here, but we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through the video. And as you can see in the background, it just says Dash IO right in the spoiler screen we're going to look at in just a second. So let me give you guys a quick layout so that way we can just get straight into this. Not a lot to talk about today, but we are going to talk about a little bit. First thing we're going to do is check out this video that Flesh and Blood has put out. This is on the official Flesh and Blood YouTube page. From there, we're going to hop over to the actual Flesh and Blood website and talk about some product details and more stuff about this, release dates and things like that. From there, we will hop over to TCGPlayer, kind of check out the price point that some of these Armory decks are going for. We can talk a little bit about, you know, maybe make some predictions on where the Dash set or Armory deck will land, and you know what price point it will land at, which will all depend on what cards are inside of it. Of course, we'll talk about that as we get to it. And then from there, we will hop over to the Living Legends section of the Flesh and Blood website. We'll talk a little bit about that and what may drive them to pick heroes, like what their next hero they're going to pick is based off of. Probably has a lot to do with where the hero lands on the LL chart, like how many points have they accumulated. And then finally, we'll wrap it all up over on February. Excuse me. We will wrap it all up over on February and talk about, you know, maybe some potential heroes they'll go for next. Okay, so you know what you're getting into, guys. I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description. I'll have any relevant links in the comment section below and all that good stuff. If I miss anything, if I mess anything up, please help me out in the comment section below. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please put them down there as well. All right, let's do this, guys. Let's go ahead and hop straight into it. We know what we're getting into now. Like I said, I'll have everything time-stamped, any kind of relevant links in the comment section, and we're good to go. So first things first, we're going to watch this quick little video. It's a little 30-second you know, kind of like introduction, teaser, announcement, trailer, whatever you want to call this, for Dash. Okay, so I'm going to hit play. The volume is off, the speed's on 2x. I will have this linked in the comment section below if you want to check this out for yourself at your own pace. Okay, so we got Dash working in her shop, a bunch of different card art for Dash IO, as you can see right here. And then we got the Dash deck, and we got the release date. Okay. So it's coming out on October 18th. At the time we're recording this video, guys, I actually don't know. It's the August 24th. It is technically the 24th at the time we're recording this of August. So August, September, October. So we're about 2 months away from this new Armory deck. Now, not too much to talk about on here. The little announcement thing, the spoiler looked pretty cool. Very curious to see what kind of cards are going to be in this Armory deck, because that does matter. That is very relevant, and that will directly affect the price of the starter decks, right? That's just how the secondary market works nowadays. Okay, especially in TCGs. So let's go ahead and hop over to the site real quick and talk about this. I will link this as well in the comment section below if you're interested. Let me go ahead and put my glasses on so I can read. Okay, excuse me. Nice looking art. Okay, I have to say the marketing here, excellent job. The graphics, everything about this looks very clean, looks very solid. Okay, now let's get down here. I just want to read one sentence here. Please note that while the Armory deck Dash will be available at early access events at Speculating, the cards become tournament legal on the official release date of October 18th, 2024. So for demoing, for testing, you can play with these whenever, wherever, whenever you get them. But you cannot use them legally in tournaments, any of the cards in them, until October 18th of this year. So in about 2 months. Very cool. And that is nice how LSS does that, where they allow for these cards to come out a little bit early for people to get access to them, to try them out, try and entice new players. And one thing I want to talk about now, shifting from here and into the new player idea. Okay, by the way, pause and read this if you want to know more specific information. These overview details here: release date, product type, MSRP, and then UPP. I don't know what some of this stuff means, guys. Pause and read it if you need to know. But just know it is going to be a 60-card classic constructed deck, plus the hero, the weapons, and the equipment cards needed. And there will be 12 decks per a case of these. If you were to buy a case of these, it would come with 12 of these starter decks in them, right? These are Armory decks. Now, let's talk about the price point on here. It is at $40 USD, as is the MSRP. It will probably sell for more than that, as we're going to look at in just a second on TCGPlayer.com. But I wish they would go closer to like $30. Like, because you have to, excuse me. And I understand what people are thinking, what people are saying. Excuse me, guys, I got to clear my throat. My apologies. I understand what a lot of people are thinking, that like, okay, but it depends on what cards are inside. Well, it shouldn't. It shouldn't matter what cards are inside at all. Like, that should be totally irrelevant, because these decks are supposed to be geared towards newer players, and I'm going to talk about that now. You know, let's just go ahead and get into it right now. So first things first here, these are the current starter decks that are available. We have KO, Bolton, Azalea. Let me say right now, Bolton's price point at $33.99, I think that is excellent. I think that is really, really good, because that is a price point that many new players will not have a huge issue with, right? Like, okay, $30 for me to try a new product out. Let's just call it $35 after tax, $37 after tax, whatever. Okay, sure. I'm trying out a new game, and it's at a pretty decent price point. Now, one thing I will say is I'm not a huge fan of the art of Bolton here. Like, if we click on this, this is just simply, you know, how do I say it? This does not look as good and as clean as what we just saw. Okay, this has colors that are really vibrant on top of the golds and the yellows that was already on the Bolton case. Those teals and those light colors, it gives a neon effect, which is obviously right in line with the mechanologist, right? This neon style, and it really makes it pop. And that's not me saying that because I like this hero, guys. I do not play Dash at all. Okay, I'm going to talk about the heroes later on. I do not play Dash. I do play Mechanologist. I do play Tekla Vossen, and I wish they had done a Tekla Armory deck instead of Dash. That's just me personally. I'm not trying to be bitter or anything. I'm just saying that's me personally. Now, going back to this one, notice like the stark difference in quality. And that's not to say anything against like the artist, okay? Because so for those who are not aware of my background, I am an art teacher. My major is art. My major is not education. I teach art at a high school or middle school level, at least in the United States. I don't know what it is in your country, okay? My major was art. My major was not education. You know, you have to take certificates after graduating in order to be a teacher in those fields, okay? My major's art, but I love teaching. When it comes to this art, I don't have an issue with what it is. I have an issue with the marketing of it, because going back to Dash here, I don't particularly care for this style, but this looks good. This really grabs the attention of passerbys, right? People who are passing by and looking for a cool new game to try. When they see these teals and these bright colors, they pop. They immediately grab your eye. Whereas this deck in particular, the palette is too soft. I'm not saying the art is bad. Please do not misunderstand what I'm saying here. The palette is very soft with these yellows and these whites. And notice the greens back here. There's not a lot of vibrancy going on. So your eye kind of just walks right past it. Now, Azalea, let's go back real quick. Azalea is pretty good. But again, it kind of suffers from the same idea of like this is just a dark, dark design. Whereas KO, which is my least favorite. Let me tell you guys right now, this is my least favorite of all the Armory decks. I'll just be completely honest with you, because I do not care for Brute. That is not my thing, and I am not a big fan of Orcs or Brutes or whatever these are, whatever they're like technically considered in the Flesh and Blood lore universe. I can't stand this idea. However, this one pops. Look at this bright red KO down here. These dark greens down here, like this Kelly Forest green, all these different greens down here, they look good. The gold and the green, they really contrast excellently. And then on top of that, excellently, you like that word, guys? And then the red is incredible. It pops. It grabs your eye immediately. So, excuse me, if I'm walking through the store and I'm looking for a new game to play, immediately my eye is drawn to KO, not so much Azalea, not so much Bolton. Okay, and this is coming from like a consumer standpoint, like a new person entering into the game. Likewise, with Dash, this is outstanding, right? This marketing is incredible. Like I said, the gold on light rustic bronze, whatever you want to call that down there, with the little dash of teal and whites. Chef's kiss. This is excellent. I think this is going to catch a lot of players' eye. Now, moving from there, we are still going to stay on TCG Player for a second here and talk about the price point. One thing I don't understand that TCG companies do, I mean, I get it and I also don't get it, is the price point of these starter decks. This is meant to be for new players, but what do? They print special exclusive cards that are only available in starter decks. Bandai does this as well. Okay, Bandai does this with their card games. Other companies do it as well. I'm sure Yu-Gi-Oh does it. I'm not exactly sure. Konami, whatever. I don't think Magic does, though. I'll have to check. I have not played Magic in many, many years. I don't know if they do it now. Excuse me. But they used to not do that. So I don't know if they do it currently, but that was not a thing in Magic. I apologize, guys. My throat is all messed up right now. But what happens is they print exclusive cards that are only available in the starter deck. And it's like, okay, but wait a minute. There are supposed to be a surplus of these on the shelf. Okay, so that way when new players walk by, they see the new product and they go, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting looking. Let me give that a try. Well, guess what? If you want to try the KO Armory deck that I just said looks so incredible, the packaging, the marketing just came out so superb, right? Excuse me. Look at this. It's $55. Like wait a minute. Let me see if it actually is. Excuse me. It's closer to $60, guys. Look at this. And are there only 4 available? Is this correct? I don't actually know. Someone help me out in the comment section below. Is this correct? There's only 4 available. Well, technically, excuse me. 1, 2, plus 4. There's 6 available, and they're $58, $55, $59. You're looking at $60 plus tax. You know what I mean? And plus at least $60 with shipping and handling and taxes. Like, that's an issue, right? Okay, we're trying to entice the new players. They see this, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. $55 to try this game out? Azalea, same thing, it looks like. Okay, at least there's way more Azaleas. That's good to see. There's way more product here. But $55, we'll go through shipping and handling. This is going to end up being around, $60. Okay, and then last but not least, the Bolton one. Okay, this is closer to this is going to be close to $40 after shipping and handling and taxes and all that. That's not bad, though. That's at least a little bit better. But I'd really like to see this get closer to $25, $30. So that way a new player can scoop it up. And let's not have any special, see, here's the problem. Armory decks include new card designs in addition to many of the foundational cards used in tournament-winning decks of the featured hero. Okay, well then, whoops, sorry guys, my head's in the way. It's like, well, wait a minute. That's not good, right? That's not good for the new player, because what's going to happen is the old veteran players now need this deck first because they need to get their hands on these new cards, the new card designs. So again, and that's not me just picking on Flesh and Blood. Like I said, I can't stand when companies do this. LSS, what's it called? Bandai, Konami, whoever does it. If you're putting exclusive cards in starter decks, you're inherently messing up the new player's experience, because they're going to come in, they might see this. Like, let's just say this happens right here where it's like, hey, I really want to try out that new KO deck, right? The new KO Armory deck. Let's just say that's going through a player's mind, right? I want to try out Flesh and Blood. Let me try this new KO Armory deck. Oh, the thing's like $60. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good entry point, especially when a new player looks at this and then they're like, well, wait a minute, let me check out some other cards online. And then they go through the whole, I've talked about this a few times. I'm not going to go into it too much, but when a new player sees some of these prices, it's not a matter of if they can afford it. Understand that. I hear a lot of people's responses like, oh, well, you just have to get it over time, or, oh, just save up for it or get a second job. It's like, well, no, I can afford it all right now. I just won't do that, right? I just refuse to, because I will not use, how do I say this? For me, it's more of an ethical thing. For me, it's more of like a morality thing. I'm not going to spend a certain amount of money on certain amounts of cards, right? It has to be justifiable in my mind. And if it's not, I just won't play the game, right? There's plenty of other really good TCGs out there right now. But when I see this, and it makes me sad, because I think this is a very good game. I think Flesh and Blood is a very good game. But is it justifiable for you as a player? Okay, say you're a very competitive player. A competitive TCG player. Do you want to buy this Armory deck for $60 for Flesh and Blood? And by the way, this is not a tournament ready deck. I don't care what anyone tells you. This is not tournament ready. You will still have to buy your other cards. I'm not going to go through the prices of it all. You'll have to buy your other cards. Then, go from there. Or would you rather just spend $60 on the actual best Pokemon deck that exists? Or what's another card game you play? Yu-Gi-Oh? Yu-Gi-Oh is a little more pricey. I know that's on the pricier side, but there's a lot of card games out there that are pretty cheap, man. Digimon, Pokemon, like I said. One Piece has a lot of cheap stuff as well. Not every deck. Some of the One Piece decks are actually getting really expensive. They're like in the $400 range, which is crazy for that game. You know what I mean? But anyway, long story short, what I'm saying is when I see this as the entry level Armory deck, I'm trying not to laugh. I apologize, guys, but it's $58 for a starter deck. And I get it, like, wait, but it's got, I've heard people say this in the comment section below, and I'm not trying to mock or anything like that, but it's like, yeah, but there's really good cards in there. Right, that's the problem. There shouldn't be. It's supposed to be a starter deck. I'm not saying there should be nothing but bad cards, but exclusive cards, look at this. Armory decks include new cards, new card designs, in addition to many of the foundational cards. Someone tell me in the comment section if I'm understanding that wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, there are cards that can only be acquired through these Armory decks. Is that true or not? If not, then again, I apologize. I must have misunderstood. But if not though, then someone's going to have to explain these prices to me. Someone's going to have to explain the prices to me, because why is this deck cost $60, guys? $60 for this deck if there are not new cards in here? Because this should have been something that LSS could have controlled, right? This should have been something where it's like, okay, I want new players to be able to afford this game and to get into it, so let's make these extremely affordable for new players. Like the First Strike decks. Like, I think those First Strike decks are almost good to get new players in. They're the fake, I don't want to call it the fake, but like the half version of the game, the blitz version of the game. I think Classic Constructed is the best part about this game, and I'm just going to stick with that. I'm sorry. If you disagree, that's fine. I respect your opinion. But Classic Constructed is the way to go for this game for me. I think that's the best way to go personally. I don't mind blitz, but I think Classic Constructed is like, that's like this game at its peak. All right, sorry about that, guys. I had to clear my throat real quick. So let's go ahead and move over to the LL Living Legend system in the game. Real quick, I think one of the main factors in why they're choosing some of the Armory decks, the heroes they're choosing for the Armory decks, I'm sure it's multiple factors, like how enticing might it be, what class is the character or the hero, and a lot of different factors. But I do think they should really consider using the Armory deck choices, based around heroes that might need extra support. And maybe they did. Maybe they have chosen heroes for that reason, right? For the decks. Like, you notice they chose Azalea and they chose KO. Excuse me. These are two decks that are in the top, KO is in number 6 rank right now, and then Azalea is number 4 rank in the next, heroes to get LL to be removed from the format. So interesting choice there, because I think if it were up to me, and you guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below, if it were up to me, a character or a hero, I keep saying a character, but a hero that I would like to see get some, to get an Armory deck that would help them would be something like Tekla-Vossen. And that kind of annoyed me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It annoyed me ever so slightly on them choosing Dash. It's like, well, wait a minute. If people want to play Dash, that hero is about to LL because it's doing so well. But if you want to play Tekla-Vossen, sorry, right? Yeah, just sorry about that. And Dash, of course, does have another, there is a Dash IO coming out. There is a new Dash coming out. So, or not coming out, excuse me. There already is another Dash out, and you could just swap over to this one, even though it's not exactly the same. In all fairness, it's not the same, but still you have that option. You already have Dash. Whereas with Tekla-Vossen, like, okay, you're kind of stuck with this hero that just needs some kind of extra love, extra support, I don't know, something they could print specifically for these Armory decks if they are going to print exclusive cards that can only be acquired through the Armory deck. At least that's just the way that I see it. Or what about Vinset? Like, notice Vinset is all the way down here, not doing great. Arachne, not doing great. I feel like these, okay, let me say this. If they're going to make these Armory decks based around the idea of having special new cards in them for specific heroes that are in the Armory deck, well, why not choose these heroes down here that are struggling? You know what I mean? Riptide's actually on the up and up. I think he's doing okay now. A lot of people have been talking about him, how he's kind of like a sleeper in the format, to be honest. Max the Hype Nitro, that would have been another good one, actually. Instead of Dash, I would have loved to see, like, Max the Hype Nitro. Maybe Leviah, Shadowborn Abomination. That could have been pretty decent. But I'll just say this: I don't want to harp too much on this idea, but I do hope that LSS starts picking based on like where a hero is in the LL system, right? Because choosing, like, say they choose 5 for their next one, well, that hero is going to be gone, before you know it. I mean, I say that, maybe not, who knows? But I know this hero has not gotten any points in the entire Part the Mistveil season, but still, it's its second place for the rank. And excuse me, guys. Considering like where these heroes are, if they get some kind of special exclusive support from an Armory deck, it'll probably take them to the next level where they can start winning and getting, doing better and better in the format. So with that in mind, I do hope they consider some of these earlier picks all the way down here, like, stuff starting at number 10 where Viserai is and going down. Now, you guys know I wasn't going to go down this path, but you guys know I would love to see them give Viserai an Armory deck with some exclusive cards in it for him to help him out more and more. But I could see why they wouldn't want to do that. We're about to get an entire Runeblade set, right? Or, well, Runeblade / Wizard, some arcane shenanigans, some arcane tomfoolery going on. So, yeah, that's really about it, to be honest, guys. That's about it for this part. Let's go ahead and wrap up. We got one more page we're going to talk about with the different heroes. This is all of them, Living Legend and everything in here. And another thing that I think they should do, okay, it's weird to say, but if you're coming at this from a marketing standpoint, you want to pick heroes that are very attractive to the eye, right? Things that people will see on the shelf and go, that looks really cool. Like we were saying earlier, talking, like, for example, this would, I hate that. I always click on these and expect there to be like the picture to go like full screen, but Prism Awakener of Soul. I'm not even saying she needs help from an Armory kit, right? From some type of special Armory set. But man, this is a hero that is absolutely attractive to the eye. All these golds, and there's this character up here, she's looking down at us. We're looking up to her in the picture. It is enticing. It is attractive to the eye. And I understand that might be a preference thing. Some people might not care for that. Some people do. Some people don't, whatever. But the point is, you want to put something on your shelf that is really just going to pop. It's going to pull your eye to it. And again, I hate to keep going back to the same example, but I can't tell you guys how good of a job I think they did here. Like with those neons for the dash thing there, and then like her hair is red, so it goes pretty well with the Flesh and Blood logo back here. It has some quality to it that pulls you in as the viewer. Okay, and it is a marketing strategy. It's like, okay, why did they choose Azalea instead of Betsy? They could have chose either one, right? I mean, literally, it's their choice. They can choose whoever they want to. LSS, they call all the shots. It's their company. Okay, why didn't they choose Betsy? And I'm not saying they won't in the future. They might in the future. But it's like, well, Azalea has a little more going on for how she's performing in the meta currently. And on top of that, she's a ranger, which is interesting to a lot of players. And I do think that is a primary factor. Like, let's go over what they've done so far. Okay, where is the Armory? Right here. So we've seen a ranger, we've seen a brute, we've seen a warrior, and now we are seeing a mechanologist. So what's next, we'll have to see, right? Like maybe an assassin will be next, maybe a Runeblade. Again, I doubt they'll do the Runeblade because we're about to get a lot of Runeblade support from Rosetta, but who knows? That's also not a bad time to do it, so all this support comes in at the same time, and we'll see Aurora and Florian just go straight off to the races. But we've not seen a wizard yet. Maybe we'll see a wizard next. It's hard to say. We don't know. But again, going off of what we've seen so far, a mechanologist will be the next choice for their Armory deck. We've already seen a warrior in Bolton, and we've already seen where did KO go? We've seen a brute in KO, and then we've seen a ranger in Azalea. So we got a lot of other things, right? We have an assassin, a guardian. We have not seen a guardian yet. That could be very interesting. We have not seen a Runeblade, like I said. We have seen a warrior. We have not seen an illusionist. Again, I think it'd be very interesting and very intelligent, excuse me, to pick something like an illusionist. Let me go down like this so it's more centered. Because it has to do with, let me say it like this. I don't really care so much as far as like who they pick, whether it be one of my heroes or not. Of course, I want Viscerai to get support, but I'm not upset if that doesn't happen. I think they should just pick heroes that are very catching, right? It catches your eye. And that was one thing I was not a huge fan of how they chose Sir Bolton. And that's another thing we need to consider is they might be picking based off of which heroes they think need the most support to go to the next level. But if that's the case, it really doesn't make sense to me, because there are certain heroes on here that we looked at under the LL system where it's like, well, if that's the case, you need to pick one of these 7, right? Like Betsy, Olympia, Arachne, Vincent, Teklo, Riptide, or Max. Like there's no question asked, right? If we're going based off of like what hero needs the most help to take it to the next level, it's those 7 down there, and then go up from there. Just start going up from there. Other than the new heroes, of course, like Enigma just came out, New just came out, and of course Zen. Zen doesn't need any help. He's already in the top 10 after one season, 560 points out of 1,000. Not complaining, just saying. But yeah, so I don't want to ramble on too long, guys, about this stuff. I just want to say that I hope when they decide for the next one, I do hope they consider some things. Like I said, I think Prism would be a great candidate. You guys tell me who y'all think they'll pick next. Like I said, they've already picked a warrior, a light warrior in Bolton. I wish they had chosen another warrior. I actually wish they had chosen Kasai. I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I understand there's a lot of Bolton fans out there, but I think instead of Bolton, they should have chosen a generic character who has no talent, like who doesn't have a talent or some type of, that's what's called in this game, right? Like light, shadow, things like that. Like, okay, this is just a warrior, and I think that's what they should have stuck with. Like, notice they did a mechanologist for Dash, a ranger for Azalea. KO is a brute. Where's KO at? There he is. KO's a brute. Why would they choose a light warrior for one of the sets? I don't know. I'm very perplexed by that. I'm not a huge fan. Now, when they get to Illusionist, you kind of have to, right? There is no just standard Illusionist. We got either Prism, Dromai is LL'd right now, and then Enigma, right? We've got Mystic, Draconic, and Light Illusionist. So maybe when they got that far into it after doing all the basic stuff, like, hey, what about a Katsu Armory deck? That would have been pretty cool. What about, like I said, instead of Sir Bolton, what about a Kasai Armory deck? I think Kano would be pretty interesting because we have not seen a wizard yet. We have not seen a wizard Armory deck, and I really wish instead of Dash.io or Dash, I wish we could have gotten Tekla Boston. I think that'd have been so cool, or even Max. But yeah, all right. Let me leave it there. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. I really want to know what y'all have to say about this, what y'all think. Let's just please keep it peaceful. Let's keep it civil down there, guys. I know some of the things I say are not going to resonate well with everybody, but I'm just trying to be honest, and I'm trying to be straightforward, because some of these things I see as an issue that I hope can get dealt with. You know what I mean? Hopefully LSS can deal with it, and we can move on and have the game keep growing and things like that, especially when it came to the price point. That is the last thing I want to end on, guys. Let me get out of full screen here. I'm just going to end with this screen up. For newer players, it's got to pop. Like I said, I think like the KO did a pretty good job, but not so much the Bolton and the Azalea. And then the price point, I think, needs to go down some for these. And again, if we're going to make these decks with special exclusive cards in them, why are they starter decks? You know, or are they not? Are they not starter decks? I don't know. Because I would like to be able to say to someone, like, yeah, just go pick up that Bolton deck on the shelf, and then you're going to be good to go for tonight's tournament, whatever it is, if they're a brand new player, and we'll teach you as you go. You know what I mean? That's how it's supposed to be, right? And I will say, at least with Bolton, it's, this is a decent price point. I would like for it to be around $30 after everything's said and done, or, around $33, $34, $35 after everything's said and done with taxes, shipping, handling, all that. But $55 for the KO deck, $55 for the Azalea deck just seems outrageous to me. All right, I'm done. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate anyone who's watching these videos. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please put them in the comment section below. And, yeah, until next time, guys. Peace.